I am new on Reddit. So for some background and context, I, 54F, have one daughter Ella, 28F, with my ex, Dylan, 57 meters. Dylan and I amicably divorced when Ella was only 4 years old. A few years later I married my now husband Jack, 55 meters. He was a single dad of 2 kids, Jason, 25 meters, and Sophie, 27F. Jack and I also have a daughter, Bella, 17F. This is about Sophie and Ella. I always thought since they were closer in age they would get along really well. And I was right. They were like best friends and we were really happy in our blended family. When Ella was in college, she met this guy Brian, 30 meters, at a cafe where she worked. They started dating. I was happy for Ella. Brian proposed to Ella in front of our whole family and it was very romantic. Everything was fine until one day Ella came to our house screaming at Sophie. She claimed that Sophie had been sleeping with Brian. I told her she must be joking. Sophie would never do that to her. There was a lot of screaming until Sophie finally said that she and Brian are in love. This caused more commotion. We did have an extremely hard conversation with Sophie. She showed her remorse and was very guilty. We tried to talk to Ella. That Sophie was sad and maybe she should forgive her. But Ella was having none of it. She went on to more screaming and bashing all of us that we are abandoning her and picking Sophie. That is not the case. I tried to make it as peaceful as possible but Ella didn't want that. When Ella and Brian broke up, he started dating Sophie. They got engaged within a year. Sophie wanted Ella to be her bridesmaid. But Ella just said, "Over my dead body." I thought it was really cruel of her to say that and she is being petty by holding on to the past anger. Needless to say, she didn't come to the wedding. Rather she left the city to live with her father. She didn't contact us much except for Bella. I thought she might need some time to cool off. But I was hurt that she kept us out of her life. We only got some insights from Bella and Jason. She only sends me cards on my birthday but hardly ever speaks to me. I think it was unfair. Anyway, one day she came to our place. Sophie and Brian were also there. She gave us an invitation card to her wedding with someone named Ray. I don't know much about him. She didn't even include us in the wedding party. Plus the venue was a 4-hour drive. And the hotels in that area are expensive. We did agree to go, but at the last moment Jack got sick and I had to cancel it. When I told her the reason I cannot come to her wedding she told me to not bother. She made the right choice by not including me in her wedding. She knew I was a bad mom, it really bothered me. I always wanted to be by her side. But the place and time she was getting married at were not compatible for us. That was 2 years ago. She never contacted us again. Then, a few weeks ago, my daughter Bella showed me a post in Instagram that Ella was pregnant. She posed with her stepmother with a caption like she will be a good grandmother. I was furious. How can she forget her whole family here? So, I called her from Bella's phone and wanted an explanation. She replied that since I never bothered to be at her wedding, I don't deserve to be in her kid's life. She said it is not just her wedding. She claims I have never been supportive of her. That I do not care about her. She went on to blabbing that she never felt like she had my support. Even when she got cheated on and I choose my stepdaughter over her. I told her it was not fair for her to hold that against me till now because it was 6 years ago. She has moved on and Sophie has moved on as well. She is being petty by holding on to something that happened years ago. So, did I do anything wrong? Relevant comments where Reddit absolutely tore the op up. Zesticlos Sky 1921. Yes, you did everything wrong but at least you're consistent. But I don't think you need to worry about Ella because there's nothing you can do or are willing to do to fix your relationship with her. So focus on your lovely stepdaughter and stepson because that's your family now. Just in case you are wondering, though, I have a scenario for you. If it had been reversed and it was Ella who lied and slept with Sophie's boyfriend, let's call him Brian, but she was very sad, would you have told Sophie to suck it up and forgive her? And would she have? Not sure that's even valid since someone who sleeps with her sister's boyfriend and lies about it is capable of feeling hurt or betrayal, but it's how you view and value each of them here that I'm wondering. Ice Queen 98547. Get a fucking grip, lady. You have lost your daughter due to your own chain of actions/inactions. Unless you do some seriously genuine holy fuck I made a bunch of shitty decisions and good god I'm sorry actions/words. You will never have a chance at redemption. Your stepdaughter is in the wrong. You are in the wrong. Either listen to the comments and make a change or live with the consequences of your selfish behavior. 4 hours is not that far to drive to save a relationship. Geez fuck, you suck. DV Kuno. You are the a-hole big time. At every turn, you put Ella down. You don't get to decide that Ella should forgive Sophie and Brian. You don't get to decide to not go to Ella's wedding and still expect things to be okay. You don't get to expect a relationship with Ella's child or any future children she has when all you've ever done is tear her down. Ella had an entire future planned out at one point and it all blew up in her face because her ex and stepsister betrayed her. And you couldn't even find it in yourself to comfort her then, just expected her to forgive Sophie so you could continue playing happy family. If I was Ella, I also would have gone NC with you. More info, I didn't forgive Sophie at all. We did tell her that what she did was wrong. She was begging Ella for her forgiveness. And also, Sophie is my stepdaughter. Did you all really think it would be wise to abandon her just for one mistake? And I know Ella was hurt. I acknowledge that. But I didn't take Sophie's side. I just wanted both of my daughters to have a common ground. What I am trying to say is, isn't it time for her to move on? She cannot hold a grudge against us her entire life. Sophie is happy with Brian and I am sure Ella is happy with Ray. It worked out for her. So why is it fair for her to hold a grudge against us? Also, I didn't abandon Ella. She willingly distanced herself from us. She cut off contact with us. And no, I did not choose my stepdaughter over her. I love both of them equally. If I was in Ella's place, I would have at least attended Sophie's wedding. And not leave the town without any short notice. I tried my best. But she was the one who was still cold towards me. And I was devastated because I couldn't go to her wedding. Jack was sick. He couldn't walk properly because he became weak. I would have gone if I could. I sent a gift and told her we will make it up to her. It's not like I intentionally didn't go. Edit. Look, I did not abandon Ella. I tried to be there for her. When she and Brian broke up, I went to her place to support her almost every day. I just think it is silly to hold on to something that happened years ago. I get that she didn't want to be a bridesmaid, but she could have attended the wedding. I never pressured her. Yes, I was disappointed, but if she politely declined, I would have never thought it was cruel. And I tried my best to attend her wedding. We booked the hotel too. But Jack got really sick. We did apologize and promise to make it up to her in some ways. But she rejected it. Now in the update, Ella's half-sister made a post equals "Hi guys, this is Bella 17F. The half-sister of Ella. So basically I am writing this update to clear things out. You see, this whole argument with Ella being pregnant happened 2 months ago. There have been fights and crying on my mom's part. I tried my best to explain to her that what she did was over the line and she cannot expect Ella to be okay with it after she, my mom, hurt her. My mom still insists Ella is being unfair. She thinks every other person would agree with her lol. So I gave her just that. I have been on Reddit for about 3 years. I have seen how people tear apart people like my mom. So I told her that she should post it anonymously on Reddit about it. I did help her in the steps to make sure she includes everything, but she still left out some parts. I challenged her that nobody thinks she is right after the shit she pulled. It was hilarious to see my mom reacting to the comments. She genuinely thought people would be on her side, haha. She read the comments for 3 hours. You guys even pinned her and those were the cherry on top. Seeing how people actually see her, she literally cried her eyes out. She is still in denial and keeps saying they don't know anything. Well, she had a breakdown of how cruel some comments and PMs are. My dad came home and saw mom crying and scolded me for airing out our dirty laundry. My mom demanded that I delete the post. Instead, I deleted the Reddit app from her phone. But now I am writing this for you guys. I must say, Reddit doesn't disappoint. I have been reading all the comments. They are entertaining. My mom refuses to look at them. She is a lost cause. But I am here to clear things out a bit. I am the observer of my family. So, I have observed a lot of things. First of all, my mom didn't cheat with my dad as far as I know, since some of you were suggesting. The divorce with Ella's dad was amicable, but that's what I heard. My mom has this weird obsession with having twins. She always wanted twin girls. But that never happened. Since Sophie and Ella are almost the same age, my mom pretended that they are twins. I think she created this whole fantasy in her mind that Ella and Sophie will do everything together and have a matching life. Though Ella and Sophie never had bad blood, they were far from being twins. They are like normal people. But my mom still wanted the twin lifestyle for them. Also, just like you guys pointed out, mom is the type of person whose family comes first. She wanted Ella to forgive everything and be okay with Brian and Sophie so that she, my mom, can show it off to people that in our family we always forgive and forget no matter how shitty the other person is. And Ella was ruining that Disney musical fantasy for my mom. My dad only cared about his bio daughters. Though he was never mean to Ella and always loved her, blood comes first to him as well. Jason pretty much doesn't give a shit. He and Sophie were not that close, neither was Ella and him. I am close with Ella. The only reason I showed my mom that Instagram post is so that I can show her what Ella is doing. She always asks me about her life. I thought this would bring some form of accountability on her part. But no. As you can see, I was wrong and I take full responsibility for it. Second thing, mom and dad did berate Sophie about her affair with Brian. Sophie started the waterworks saying she will do anything to gain forgiveness from Ella. Sophie even said she will cut off all contact with Brian. But Ella was having none of it. I think my parents got manipulated by the fake waterworks of Sophie, that's why they kept pushing for forgiveness from Ella. And you guys asked what happened to Jack, my dad. Well, he fell down the stairs and hurt his back. I wasn't there because I was a bridesmaid at Ella's wedding. So I spent the whole week there in her town. Sophie and Brian were not invited. Jason was out of town too. But I still think if mom made an effort, she could have easily made it to the wedding. She did try to say sorry and offered to pay for their honeymoon, but I don't think that is enough. I mean, it was her daughter, for God's sake. Lastly, my mom lied. Sophie and Brian are not a happy couple, lol. They look like they are on the brink of divorce. My mom still has no idea that Brian cheated on Sophie with a stripper at his bachelor party. Sophie forgave him because it was his bachelor party, so it doesn't count. I knew that she also cheated on him at her bachelorette party too. I don't have the evidence, but I just know. Also, a month ago Sophie decided that she would also try for a baby. I am willing to bet that Brian will skip town when that happens, or he might not be the father. But we shall see. Finally, I am sorry for dragging you guys into my family drama. I just wanted mom to see that she is wrong. She even tried to save her ass by replying, but you guys gave her a new one. I was a little skeptical about posting here because I know a lot of you guys would think this is fake and not give proper replies. And sorry if you felt deceived that someone else coerced up to make a post. So I am being clear once and for all. The first post was made by my mom. This update is being written by me, Bella, the youngest sibling. Extended from Ops comments, the fact that Sophie and Brian's marriage lasted 5 years is astonishing. But it is now hanging by a thread. If anything, Sophie did Ella a favor. I always thought that guy was a bluff. Also, Ella has blocked my mom, Sophie, Brian, and Dad. Her only communication is with me and Jason. So, IDK if there will be more drama. But even if she doesn't talk to mom, I know she cares for her. I lied to mom that she also blocked me after the fiasco. And besides, I will be 18 in 3 months. And I am planning to move out because I am applying to college in a different city. About the rest of the family, well, Jason lives in his own world. Just occasional hi and hello. Like I said, they are not very close. Ella and I also talked a lot. I was sad when she left. I was the last person she talked to before she left town. Sophie tried once or twice to reach out, but not much. And Ray is a little older than Ella. He is 34. But a nice guy, emo. Her dad says she picked right this time. I've only met Ray a handful of times. The way he interacts with Ella says that he truly loves her and cares for her. Now on to the second story. Story 2. Wife of 5 years wanted to open the relationship for a woman. This is what happened. I've been married to Dee for 5 years and we are both in our mid-30s. Last year Dee told me she thinks she is bisexual and would like to explore having a relationship with a woman. I asked if she wanted to explore as in a hookup or a real relationship, to which she replied an actual relationship. She felt she had so much love to share, but my concern was if she had enough time to share, and I said I wasn't on board and I thought the subject was closed. About 4 months ago, Dee brought it up again and said she would be happy with just an FWB arrangement, not an actual relationship. I was still hesitant, but it was a constant topic that kept coming up. I relented under the conditions: we do our research, books, podcasts, and see a couples counselor before opening up. Dee was ecstatic and we dove into several books and found a great therapist, trying to do things right. One of the topics our therapist brought up was why we were opening up and if there was someone either of us had in mind. Dee admitted that she had someone she had been talking to who had encouraged her to open our relationship. This was a shock to hear for the first time, and our therapist said this was troublesome. After that first session, I confronted Dee and asked if she had done more than talk to this friend, and she swore that was all they had done. I asked to see her phone and she unlocked it and handed it to me. She had been talking with Kim for about a year, but there wasn't anything incriminating and no apparent gap in the messages, just a two-way crush between them. There was a message from Kim right before this last polybombing episode where Kim said for Dee to initiate sex with me more often to soften me up. What I did find was 3 dating apps with Dee's profile on her phone. This caused a brief argument about jumping the gun, with Dee agreeing to delete the apps until after we were open. 3 months go by and we are getting closer to opening, and Dee is acting like it's Christmas time. Our last counseling session we went over our agreements and boundaries, and we got down to our messy list. Coworkers, relatives, close friends, exes, and I wanted to add Kim to the list. Dee blew up, especially when our therapist said it was a reasonable request. Dee wouldn't speak to me on the way home, but when we got there she let me have it. I even showed her in 2 of the books we had read, where it said opening for a specific person was a bad idea. I basically said it was a line in the sand for me. I would be just as happy remaining monogamous. She got mad and slept in the spare bedroom and would hardly talk to me for 2 days. Finally, she gave in and agreed to Kim being on the messy list, and we were officially open. A couple of days later Dee told me she had a date, and it seemed a bit quick to me. While she was in the shower I decided to check her phone, but the unlock code had changed. That's 2 red flags. Later that day she got on her phone and I saw the unlock code. That night I looked at her phone. The dating apps were still gone and there were messages between her and Kim trash talking me and planning their date. There were also references to having sex again. Emailed screenshots to my phone. So I felt like a chump and the 2 of them played me like a fiddle. I stewed on it all night and part of the next day. Then I called a lawyer and had him start drawing up divorce papers. The lawyer was a peach. Not only did he put a rush on it, but they served Dee at our house just 2 hours before her date with Kim. Attached to the divorce papers was a printout of the last texts I read. She found me sitting on the patio. She was crying, but I didn't know if they were fake tears or not. When she asked, I lied and said I knew about it all along. I said it just means we won't be married anymore, you can have the freedom to hook up whenever with whoever you want. Just think of us as FWB. I got up to go have dinner with some friends and told her she needed to hurry and fix her face if she was going to be at Kim's house on time. She got home earlier than I thought she would and wanted to talk, but I went to bed and said we could talk tomorrow. Her eyes were all red and her makeup was all smeared. I still felt gutted, but I wasn't going to let her see that. Update November 12, 2023. My wife, Dee, polybombed me until I agreed to open up. But I said the woman, Kim, who was pushing her to open up our marriage was on our messy list and she finally agreed. Within a week she already had a date with guess who, Kim. I felt betrayed and had Dee served with divorce papers the day of her date with Kim. Original post. She got home from her date with Kim earlier than I thought she would and wanted to talk, but I went to bed and said we could talk tomorrow. Her eyes were all red and her makeup was all smeared. The next morning started off on a negative foot. I asked her if Kim was worth throwing the last 5 years into the gutter. Then I started reading some of the texts where Kim and she were planning to open our marriage and hook up again, and some of the disparaging remarks about me between them. And so when I found all this out, I started planning a divorce since she lied and then broke our agreements, especially about the messy list, which I considered cheating. Dee said she was still very much in love with me and didn't want a divorce. She wanted to go back to our marriage counselor and work things out. I told her I couldn't be married to a liar and a cheater, and she was the one who burnt down that pledge, and now we just need to move on. If we could be civil about it, I was open to an FWB or roommate / with benefits arrangement, and we could cohabitate and split the bills 50-50. Since we wouldn't be married any longer, we would both be free to part ways at any time without any strings attached. She is determined to win my trust back and show me how much she still loves me. Hopefully, our therapist can help us form a new set of rules as roommates, and we will see where things go from here. Oop updates a little in the comments. Mini update November 13, 2023. I hear what all the comments are saying, but at this point, I can't legally just kick her out. But I have got our finances separated, all the credit cards cancelled, and half of the money has been moved to a separate account. I told Dee she could stay on my insurance till the first of the year. Our regular counseling session is on Tuesday, and I have already emailed our therapist with a heads up on our relationship change. I moved all of Dee's things into the spare bedroom. The last couple of days I've been love bombed. Dee wants to pump the brakes now on the open relationship and put the divorce on hold. I let her know that both of those ships have sailed and we would just have to ride them out and see where they take us, but it is unlikely that we would get back to where we were. Last night she got all made up and put on my favorite outfit. Probably some of the hottest sex we ever had, including her initiating a couple of things that were on her taboo list. And then more this morning when we woke up. I gotta say that my friends have really been there for me these last 6 months. Most of them have been encouraging me to stay steady on the divorce. My Sil has told me recently that her sister has had a crush on me for the longest time and wants to set me up with her. Update 2 November 24, 2023. Update, poly bombed and opening up. Okay, I'm throwing in the towel. After the last 2 counseling sessions, Dee finally admitted she cheated and lied about her affair with Kim, but still doesn't show any remorse or that she feels like what she did was that wrong. She still tries to blame me for being controlling and dragging my feet on opening up. Our last session I gave her an ultimatum. Back to monogamy, no contact with Kim, no divorce. ENM/poly, no contact with Kim, proceed with divorce and cohabitate. We split, she can keep Kim, separation and divorce. Dee thinks we can work out option 2 and still keep Kim. But I told her I felt like Kim instigated all this and her presence was a deal breaker for me. I'm still being love bombed at home and pressured to give in to her desired outcome. I have been quietly looking at condos near downtown with the thought of moving out and letting her have the house for the next 6 months until the lease is up. I told her I wasn't going to Thanksgiving at her family's this Friday and was going to my parents Thursday without her. I said tell them whatever you want, but I was telling my family the truth, which upset her. Her sister did text me about if anything was wrong, and I told her Dee had an affair with another woman and we were getting a divorce. My hope is to be out before Christmas. If she spends the night or the weekend with Kim, I can be out before she realizes it.